We live in a time where pressure has quietly become the silent companion of our everyday lives. We wake up with it already sitting on our shoulders, whispering that we're behind before the day even begins. We carry it into our work, where it grows louder, reminding us of expectations, deadlines, comparisons. Then we take it to bed with us, hoping sleep will silence it, but for many people, the pressure follows them into their dreams. And somewhere along the way, we've started confusing pressure with purpose. We've mistaken the weight we carry for the meaning we seek. The truth is, pressure is not a sign of purpose. Pressure is a sign of fear, fear of not being enough, not achieving enough, not becoming enough in the eyes of the world. And when fear drives us, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we achieve, we end up feeling empty. Because pressure chases results, purpose creates impact. Cut to Sinek-style on-camera storytelling. I remember sitting across from a founder who had built what everyone else would describe as a successful company. He had the office, the team, the revenue, the awards, the whole story. But he sat there in front of me, exhausted, drained, eyes dimmed by something far heavier than work. He said, "I'm doing everything right. So why doesn't any of it feel right?" And I told him something I've learned again and again. Because pressure is about the expectations placed on you, but purpose is about the expectations you choose for yourself. He looked at me with confusion at first, and then a little bit of relief, the kind that comes from hearing something you already know deep down, but have never put into words. We are pressured by metrics, milestones, comparisons, and timelines. We are pressured by what we think success should look like. But purpose doesn't care about any of that. Purpose is quieter. It doesn't demand attention. It invites you inward. It asks, what do you stand for? What difference do you want to make? Who do you want to become? Pressure is external. Purpose is internal. I've spoken to countless people, CEOs, students, athletes, artists, and the story repeats itself everywhere. People are overwhelmed not because they lack talent, but because they lack clarity. They are crushed not by responsibility, but by the belief that they can never slow down. They run faster, not because the finish line inspires them, but because the world behind them scares them. They wake up every day trying not to lose, not necessarily trying to win. And here's the irony, pressure can mimic passion. It can disguise itself as ambition. It can make you feel like you're chasing something meaningful, when in reality you're just running from the fear of falling behind. Purpose, on the other hand, doesn't push you from behind, it pulls you forward. It doesn't rush you, it aligns you. It doesn't drain you, it energizes you. The companies we admire most, the leaders we trust the most, the people we follow most willingly, they all have something in common. They operate from purpose. They understand their why. And here's something important. Purpose doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a world-changing mission or a grand, heroic vision. Sometimes purpose is as simple as wanting to make people feel seen. Sometimes it's wanting to build something that lasts. Sometimes it's wanting to solve a problem you experienced yourself. Purpose doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. There's a story I often share about a barista I met at an airport. He absolutely loved his job. Loved it. When I asked him why, he said, "Because my manager asks me how I'm doing every day. They care about me. They want me to succeed." That's leadership. That's purpose in action. And it has nothing to do with titles or hierarchies. Purpose shows up in how we treat people, how we communicate, how we support each other. Notice something. His performance didn't come from pressure. It came from feeling valued. When people feel pressure, they comply. When people feel purpose, they commit. Pressure says, do the work because you have to. Purpose says, do the work because it matters. Pressure says, don't mess up. Purpose says, let's do something worth doing. Pressure says, you're only as good as your last achievement. Purpose says, you're valuable because of who you are, not what you produce. I've met leaders who try to motivate their teams using pressure, fear-based deadlines, aggressive targets, endless comparisons. And I've met leaders who motivate through purpose, through vision, belief, trust, and clarity. And I can tell you, without hesitation, that the latter always builds stronger teams, stronger cultures, stronger results. I once spoke with a company whose turnover rate was sky high. They couldn't keep employees for more than a year. They tried raising salaries, adding bonuses, offering perks. Nothing changed, until they decided to shift from pressure to purpose. They began sharing the story behind why the company existed. They started recognizing effort, not just results. They encouraged curiosity, not fear of mistakes. 6 months later, turnover dropped. People didn't stay because the job became easier. They stayed because the work became meaningful. Purpose builds loyalty, pressure builds burnout, and I know, it's not always easy to choose purpose. Especially when the world seems to be measuring us every second. When social media shows everyone winning. When comparison feels unavoidable. But here's a simple truth. Comparison is the enemy of purpose. You cannot live your purpose while living someone else's timeline. You cannot discover your why while chasing someone else's what. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, whenever I feel like pressure is beginning to creep in, I ask myself a question I want you to ask yourself too. Is this stress coming from expectation, or from meaning? Because if it's coming purely from expectation, someone else's idea of what you should do, then it's pressure. But if it's coming from something you believe in, something you care about deeply, something that aligns with who you want to be, then that's purpose. Purpose still comes with work. It still comes with challenges. But the feeling is different. It's not heavy. It's not suffocating. It's not draining. It's the kind of effort that feels fulfilling even when it's hard. It's the kind of commitment that makes you proud, not tired. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly alive, truly connected, truly present. I guarantee those moments were driven by purpose, not pressure. Maybe it was helping someone. Maybe it was building something. Maybe it was learning something new. Maybe it was standing up for something you believed in. Those moments matter because they remind us of who we are when the noise fades. And that's the real point. Purpose quiets the noise. It turns down the volume of the world and turns up the volume of your inner voice. It reminds you that you're not defined by speed, or comparison, or achievement. You're defined by your values, your intentions, your impact. Purpose is not about having all the answers, it's about having a direction. Pressure demands perfection. Purpose allows progress. If you feel lost right now, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you are running but not arriving, I want you to know something. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not weak. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're simply carrying a weight that was never meant to define you. Put it down, breathe, and ask yourself a different question. Not, what should I do? But, why do I want to do it? Because once you know your why, the path becomes clearer. The decisions become easier. The pressure becomes lighter. And the work becomes meaningful again. So the next time you feel pressure pressing down on you, pause. Look inward, and remind yourself, pressure is loud, demanding, urgent. But purpose whispers. And those who listen to the whisper end up creating the loudest change. Start with your why. Let it guide you. Let it shape you. Let it lead you toward a life that isn't defined by pressure, but driven by purpose.